They called it impossible, yet a single human ship wiped out their stronghold. The Vorthak High Command's fortress station hung in the void like a metallic cancer, its massive bulk bristling with enough firepower to reduce entire planets to cosmic dust. For 3 centuries it had served as the nexus of their galactic empire, an impregnable symbol of their dominance over 47 subjugated species. Admiral Zexthul studied the tactical displays with satisfaction, his 4 arms crossed behind his chitinous back. The human delegation had been stalling their surrender negotiations for weeks now, but it mattered little. Their pathetic fleet of 12 ships cowered at the edge of the system, vastly outgunned by the station's complement of 600 heavy cruisers. "Status report," Zexthul commanded, his voice carrying the authority of one who had never known defeat. "The human vessels maintain their position, Admiral," his aide reported. "Our long-range scanners detect no additional reinforcements. Their largest ship registers barely 2 kilometers in length, primitive compared to our dreadnoughts." Zexthul's mandibles clicked in amusement. Humans were a young species, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 50 years ago. They had been fortunate to avoid the Vorthak's attention until now, but their expansion into claimed territories had finally forced this confrontation. Soon they would join the ranks of the conquered, their homeworld strip-mined for resources. "Open communications," he ordered. The main screen flickered to life, revealing the face of the human admiral, a weathered woman with steel-gray hair and eyes that held an unsettling intensity. She sat alone on her ship's bridge, a stark contrast to the dozens of Vorthak officers crowding Zexthul's command center. "Admiral Chen," Zexthul began, his voice dripping with condescension, "your delaying tactics grow tiresome. Surrender now, and your species will be granted the mercy of servitude rather than extinction." Admiral Chen's expression didn't change. "Counter-proposal, Admiral. You have 1 hour to withdraw your forces from human space. This is your only warning." The bridge erupted in chittering laughter from Zexthul's officers. The humans' audacity was beyond comprehension. 12 ships against an entire battle fleet and the most fortified position in the galaxy. "Impossible," Zexthul snarled. "Your tiny fleet couldn't scratch our defensive screens. Our fortress alone mounts more weapons than your entire navy possesses. You speak of warnings? Look upon the graveyard of species that dared challenge the Vorthak." Admiral Chen leaned forward slightly. "You're right about one thing. It should be impossible. But you've made one critical error in your calculations. And what might that be? You assume we think like you?" The communication ended abruptly. Zexthul turned to his weapons officer. "Power all batteries. If they wish to die, gloriously we shall accommodate them." But instead of charging forward in a suicidal assault, the human ships did something unexpected. They dispersed. 11 ships scattered to different vectors, while the largest vessel, Admiral Chen's flagship, began a slow, methodical approach toward the station. "Admiral," the sensor operator called out, confusion evident in his voice. "The single human ship, it's not registering on our targeting arrays correctly. The returns are inconsistent." "Explain." "Sometimes it appears as a 2-kilometer vessel, other times as a small fighter craft. Our computers cannot achieve a targeting lock." Zexthul's eyes narrowed. "Stealth technology? Impossible. We've monitored their development. They lack such capabilities." The human ship continued its approach, weaving through the outer defensive perimeter with impossible precision. Point defense turrets swiveled to track it, but their targeting systems seemed unable to acquire a stable lock. The few shots that did fire passed harmlessly through empty space. "How is it avoiding our defenses?" Zexthul demanded. His tactical officer's voice was strained. "Admiral, I believe it's not avoiding them, it's predicting them." "What?" "Every evasive maneuver occurs before our weapon systems even finish calculating firing solutions. As if they know exactly what we're going to do before we do it." The impossible continued as the lone human ship penetrated deeper into the fortress's defensive grid. Massive battleships tried to intercept, their weapons blazing, but the human vessel seemed to dance between the particle beams and missile salvos, with an elegance that defied physics. "Deploy the emergency squadrons," Zexthul roared. "All ships, converge on that target." 600 warships turned inward like a closing fist, their combined firepower enough to sterilize entire star systems. The human ship should have been vaporized instantly, reduced to its component atoms by the overwhelming barrage. Instead, it accelerated. The vessel moved with impossible speed and precision, threading the needle through a maze of destruction that would have claimed any other ship in the galaxy. Explosions bloomed around it like deadly flowers, but the human craft remained untouched, seemingly guided by an intelligence that transcended normal tactical thinking. "Admiral," the communications officer stammered, "we're receiving a transmission from the human ship. It's on our internal command frequency. How do they know our encrypted channels?" Admiral Chen's image appeared once more, but now she was no longer alone. Behind her stood dozens of officers from various species, including several Vorthak in human uniforms. "You wanted to know how this was possible?" Chen said calmly, as her ship approached the fortress's primary reactor complex. "For 50 years, you've conquered species and enslaved their populations. You assumed they would remain broken forever." Zexthul felt a chill of understanding creep up his spine. Every tactical doctrine, every weapon system, every strategic protocol. "We learned it all from those you conquered. Our ship isn't piloted by human instincts alone. It carries the collective knowledge and burning desire for freedom of 47 enslaved civilizations." The human ship reached the station's core. Instead of firing weapons, it did something far more devastating. It began broadcasting on every frequency simultaneously. The Vorthak Fortress Station's shield harmonics, defensive protocols, and structural weaknesses, Chen continued as data streamed across every screen in the galaxy. "We're transmitting everything to every oppressed world, every resistance cell, every enslaved population in your empire." Zexthul watched in horror as rebellion exploded across 1,000 worlds simultaneously. His empire's strength had always been centralized control and technological superiority. In a single moment, both advantages vanished. The fortress station shuddered as its own slave populations turned on their masters. The human ship, its mission complete, disappeared into the void as efficiently as it had arrived. Admiral Chen's final words echoed through the collapsing command center. "You called it impossible because you never understood what you were really fighting. Not just humanity, but the hope of every soul you tried to break." The age of Vorthak dominance ended, not with a battle, but with the simple truth that no empire built on oppression could survive the united will of the free.